Pill here. A couple of weeks back, I asked you all to list some of the most common insults that you've come across in life. As I was going down the list, I started to realize that there was a huge variety of what you all considered to be insults. So I decided to try out a new format for the video where I simply go down the list and give you my thoughts on each of these points. If I'm responding to your comment in this video and you feel like I've interpreted your situation wrong, just keep in mind that I don't have much information, so I have to guess. Now, before we begin, I do want to give a quick little shout out to the sponsors who have made this video possible, CuriosityStream. CuriosityStream is like the documentary version of Netflix. They have thousands of streamable documentaries and nonfiction TV shows on topics like history, nature, science, food, travel, and much, much more. I often go on their platform and watch documentaries about the universe, which helps me zoom out and relax whenever I'm feeling stressed. Go to www.curiositystream.com/pill to sign up for just $14.99 for the entire year. That's right, it's not $14.99 per month, it's $14.99 for the whole year, which means you're paying close to just $1 per month to gain access to thousands of high-quality documentaries. I highly recommend you to check it out. With that out of the way, let's begin. So first we got this one from Maddie Mark, who's heard "stop being so friendly, get a life" from somebody at their university. So this is actually what I would consider to be a critical insult, also known as a critique. Basically an insult that has some degree of truth to it. Maybe you have been acting too needy. Maybe you have been asking this one person to hang out every single day and they're feeling a bit annoyed, which is why they ended up saying this. When faced with a critique, there are two things that you should do. First is to agree and amplify, which is a solid go-to response for almost any insult thrown your way. Basically, you take whatever they throw at you, you agree with it, and then you amplify it. For example, if they say, "You're being too friendly, you need to get a life," you could respond with, "Damn, you're right, I never considered getting a life." The reason you want to do this is because it shows people that you're mentally strong, that you don't take things too seriously, that you can take some criticism. On the other hand, if you snap back and you said something along the lines of, "The reason I don't have a life is because I hang out with you," then you're basically showing that their words hurt you, that what they're saying is actually true, and that it bothers you. When you act this way, people will lose respect for you, which only causes them to want to insult you even more. It's also important to note that most people do not enjoy hanging out with people that get offended too easily, so it's better to respond playfully. Now, the second thing you have to do when someone throws a critique at you is to actually sit down and think about why they said it. You see, in my freshman year of college, I was hanging out with this one guy too much, and he basically gave me the same critique. And that's when I realized that, wow, I didn't have my own hobbies or groups of friends to hang out with. I was being too needy and asking to hang out with him way too much. When this dawned on me, I took action and started going to clubs, parties, and started meeting new people on my own. And since then, I can't recall a single instance where someone has said something like that to me, because it's simply not true anymore. You need to reflect on critiques so that you can take action and improve your life. Next up, we got McGuckin. If someone tries to insult him by saying, "You are stupid," his response is, "Yeah, I'm only stupid on Wednesdays." Now, this is just an amazing response. He's using agree and amplify perfectly. However, if we dive into the comments, we see that a lot of people are suggesting that he should respond with things like, "Yeah, I already know you're stupid," or "I have to adjust to the people around me." These are not good responses because it shows people that you took it personally, which only causes them to lose respect for you and want to insult you even more. You see, the reason McGuckin's response is so good is because it takes what might have been a genuine attempt to insult someone and it flips the script on them by making it into a joke, so that anyone watching would actually end up having more respect for McGuckin afterwards and less respect for the person trying to insult him. If McGuckin had snapped back and got defensive, this would not be the case. Next up, we got Carolyn, who's heard things like, "You're just being dramatic, you're so lazy, and you're just seeking attention." Now, initially, I thought these were critiques, mainly because I've gotten the lazy critique many times before in my life, but I was being a bum during those periods of time. But these could also be another form of insult that I like to call push-down insults. You see, people will often use insults to make others seem weaker, to quote-unquote push them down so that they seem stronger. It's actually one of the most common strategies used in groups of people to establish dominance, to climb up the social hierarchy. If you pay close attention to how people interact, you'll notice that there's usually a punching bag in large groups of people, right? There's always one or two individuals that people tend to pick on the most just because it's easy to pick on them. People will purposely push them down just to show others that they can get away with it, which causes others to respect them more. If this is what's happening, the best response is again to agree and amplify. If someone goes out of their way to try to push you down and you agree and amplify, it actually makes them seem childish, which again causes people to gain more respect for you and lose respect for them. So if someone says you're just being dramatic, you could agree and amplify by saying something like, yeah, I've been practicing, I'm trying to make it big in Hollywood, which shows that you didn't take it seriously. Next up, we got Sign D, who's heard things like you're overreacting, you're clingy, you're scared. Again, these could be critiques, but they could also be push down insults. I don't really know. Regardless, it's always good to respond with agree and amplify. Personally, I have a really hard time watching scary movies. I get very jittery, especially at jump scares, and my friends always make fun of me about it. And whenever they do, I just agree and amplify. So if they say, dude, you're such a scaredy cat, I can respond with, yeah, I feel like I'm having a heart attack every time I watch one of these movies with y'all. Which, to be honest, is actually true. Next up, we got Sam, who gets "you're skinny as a stick" quite often. Now, first of all, this is a critique because, like he admits, he is skinny. So he should consider his health. He should consider lifting some weights and building up some muscle. Second, this is probably the third type of insult, which I like to call a test. When people meet someone new for the first time, they will often tease each other on obvious things like height, weight, or something related to the way they look as a way to test and see how mentally strong the other person is. Now you might be thinking, okay, Pill, how is this different from the pushdown insult? Well, they're basically the same thing. The only difference is that the intent here isn't to push you down. The intent is to see where you stand on the totem pole. This is especially common in younger groups of people, right? How do you tell how high up in the social hierarchy someone is when everyone is young, broke, with not much to show? The answer is you test them and you see how they react. If they react very defensively and you can see that they were hurt by your words, then it shows that they're low on the totem pole, that they have low self-esteem, that it's easy to pick on them and manipulate them. On the other hand, if they respond in a joking manner by using agree and amplify, then you instantly know, okay, this person doesn't really care. He or she believes in themselves. I should become their friend. So whenever someone new is testing you, don't get offended because almost everyone conducts tests whether they're aware of it or not. Simply understand that this is natural and use agree and amplify. So if they say you're skinny as a stick, you could respond with, yeah, my metabolism is crazy. Next up, we got Audrey, who's heard a lot of "get over it." And like you said, it's not really an insult. It's more like a thing that people say to you when they don't respect you already, right? If they did respect you and you're opening up about your feelings on something, they would be listening carefully. But if there's no respect, then they would say something like, "get over it." So personally, I would take this as a critique and ask myself, why don't people care about my feelings? How can I raise the amount of respect they have for me? And hopefully that should give you some insight. Next up, we got Haniel, I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly, who says they've gotten a lot of, "you'll never get a girlfriend, your lips are too big, you're ugly, you're weird." And what's interesting is that you said you get bullied a lot for almost everything, which tells me that people are using a lot of pushdown insults on you, which means that they see you as an easy target and they have decided to pick on you for things that probably aren't even true. In the beginning, they were probably only testing you with easy things like "you're weird," which, to be honest, I get all the time and I love it. When people tell me I'm weird, I usually just smile and say thank you because I genuinely see it as a compliment. But you probably responded by showing that their words hurt you, after which the group decided that you were at the bottom and started using you as the local punching bag. Again, I'm just guessing, I might be totally wrong here, but from the information that you provided, this is what seems like is the case. In order to prevent this from happening in the first place, you need to agree and amplify. So I'm going to start skipping some of these because they're basically the same insults. Sorry, M-Site. But next up, we got Ahmed, who's gotten things like "you're so quiet, why don't you talk more, and you're fat." So these are probably critiques. If you're an introvert and you have a lot of social anxiety when interacting with others, preventing you from speaking up too much, it's pretty common to see this critique because the person on the other side doesn't feel like the conversation is going well. In this case, you need to reflect on yourself and work on your social skills. Next up, we have an interesting comment from Ariano, who says, "people will get jealous of you, so they will bring you down to their level, and that those people are the worst kinds." First of all, I want to say that these people are not bad at all. I hope you see a common trend in my thinking. Certain actions are simply human nature. They're to be expected. It's human nature to throw a test at someone that you've known for a long period of time when they try to make a huge change. For example, when I decided to start this channel, a lot of my close friends said things like, "you're crazy, it's not gonna work, you'll never make enough money, it's too risky." And they didn't have bad intentions. They were not jealous of me. It is simply human nature to test someone when that person decides to make a huge change as a way to see how confident they are in their abilities. Assuming that these people are bad is not healthy because truly bad people will do far more than throw a couple of insults your way. Truly bad people will lie and try to manipulate you into doing certain things. These are the people that you need to be wary of. Next up, we got the Dragon Master himself, who's received insults such as, your clothes look old and you're not tall enough. Now, these are probably tests. I've gotten the first one plenty of times, and that's because I rotate between the same 3 outfits for months at a time, simply because I don't like traveling with too much stuff. So people will often comment on that. And again, the best thing to do here is to agree and amplify. If they say, why do you wear the same clothes every day? Are you broke? You could respond with, yeah, man, life's a struggle, you know? I only own 1 pair of underwear, and if I flip it inside out, I could wear it twice as much. Next up, we got Mitcha, who hears a lot of, why can't you be like her? Why can't you have better grades like your cousins? And I'm assuming it's your parents who are saying this. In this case, I think you should watch a recent video I made about dealing with toxic people. This isn't really a case where you can just agree and amplify and the problem is gone. Your parents aren't going to suddenly respect you more. This is something that you have to dive a bit deeper into in order to fix. Now I'm going to go into rapid fire mode and answer a couple more of these to wrap this episode up. So Syed's gotten, your forehead is bigger than a runway. This is probably a push down, to which you can respond with, yeah man, don't you know, big head, big brain. Red R Gamer gets a lot of, you can't even do that. Now, it really depends on who's saying this. I think you should go and watch my toxic video. Abhishek gets a lot of, you're so antisocial. So this is probably a critique. As an introvert, you need to learn how to turn on a switch so that you can interact with people around you, or else they will continue to say stuff like this. Most extroverts simply don't understand how introverts feel. Kanzada gets a lot of, oh, you're just going to cry about that now? So this is probably a critique and probably a push down as well. You could say something like, yeah, don't you know? I cry like 12 times a day, every 2 hours on the clock. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're trying to work on your social skills in general, I suggest checking out the Befriend course, which will show you everything you need to know about making friends and forming deep relationships. Let me know in the comments down below some of the other common insults that you've received in the past. Show me how you would agree and amplify to respond, and I'll give you some feedback. Besides that, guys, stay tuned.